Welcome to Prodigal, the podcast, where we discuss inspiring stories of self-discovery and transformation. Join your host, Don Jackson, and his dynamic co-host, Big Sean, as they lead you through captivating conversations, all designed to ignite your spirit and broaden your horizons. Whether you're on a journey of personal growth or simply enjoy staying up to date on the latest in culture, you've made the right choice. Get ready to be inspired, entertained, and enlightened. This is Prodigal, the podcast.
And how did you live here? How did you afford this house? What you doing in this neighborhood? Yeah, been there, done all that. Yeah.
You have to go into a whole new space. And here's the thing is like, think about it. We just finished Biden, who was older white gentleman, right? We're about to enter into Trump. I'm going to tell you right now, Kamala Harris was okay. You didn't want to put Michelle Obama in that position, right? And Michelle didn't want to do the position, but it was proven. There was this guy that I listened to. He was with the CIA, and he talked about this where he strategically knew, and I sit there and listen to the interview. Now he uses his CIA abilities to help people in business. And he strategically knew, he said, there's one person, because he's dealing with information, dealing with understanding information and understanding people and how to move people and make people believe certain things. And so he said, one person
that can manipulate this crowd, Michelle Obama.
And that's Michelle Obama. And the thing is if you look at her history, if you look at her knowledge and understanding the system, and I mean, like,
let's unqualify her. Let's just say, since ain't nobody else qualified, let's unqualify her. That's what you do. You know what I'm saying? He's 34, having felony ass, bitch ass, motherfucker. You know?
I'll tell you this. Here's what I want to do. Just like I told people that was like, oh, Biden, and and they would complain about Biden. You know what? I said, despite of what Trump is, what Trump represents, I'm going to use this moment knowing that how I am to do better in this era than any era of my life literally is leaning in, leading on, tapping in, tuning in, and turning on to a whole nother level of what it means to be human being, what it means to be connected or spiritual. You better, because if we don't, if we feed into what he's delivering, I promise you, it will drive you in utter sane, and then it'll put you into this negative energy. And then once you get into that negative energy, shit around you will start not going well. When it's like, I want to use this moment because I think it's necessarily, sad as it sounds, but I think it might be a little necessary for certain elements or aspects of our country, especially those people that are just like, yeah. And they'd be like, oh, wait a minute.
Exactly.
Wait a minute. Like consciousness, bow. Like now I have to live with this idea. Like he did what? Wait. Oh, and now all of a sudden they either one have to shift, but a lot of times what happens, people will not necessarily go insane, but they'll have just moments in their life where they can't deal with it. No different than people deconstructing, because we're going to have a lot of people. There's so many people leaving the church. The more people you get to leave the church, the more people in a way that allows them to have spiritual autonomy or independence. So that means I get to know who I am independently, spiritually, because God is an individual to every individual. It is not a one thing. We're more oneness as each other than it is our ideals or concepts of God.
Right. We go to church so we can agree with each other to feel good about the decision we're going to make for the rest of the day. But check this out. Put your thumb up again like that. I want to put your thumb up. Now, how does your computer just come up with that thumb emoji?
That probably has to do with it. It's the software.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I was watching Sports Center, Kirk Herbstreit. They had him, Dan Orlansky or whatever. He was doing the heart emojis and all that good stuff and all the hearts. Yeah. How do you do that?
He's a mystic, man. He's magical.
Is that what that is?
Mysticism is something that is funny when I'm doing that is like, so basically there's something within the software that is looking at me and it's actually saying, hey, whenever I see this,
Right. And
you know, I'm going to,
well, I don't
I'm
know
going
what
to do,
software. I need to have some of that software. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't, honestly, I'm just wondering, like, I know I have it hooked up to this particular box here. I got this, I'm using a pretty big camera too. Tell me something real quick on your relationship, you guys' relationship, your relationship with Don, in terms of him, you know, he's got the prodigal, and I believe that the prodigal podcast, right? Leaving church and finding God was his
That's
book.
what we're on.
Tell me about a little bit about your story about you growing up and your, you know, the belief system that you grew up with.
Oh, well, a little about myself. Well, I'm from Tulsa. I grew up in Tulsa. I'm from a little small town outside of Tulsa. But I came in, and if you're talking about Oral Roberts and all that good stuff, I was the first Black to go to Victory Christian School. So,
wow, are you serious?
I'm dead serious. So,
wow,
back in those days, you know, Billy Joe Doherty and all them folks, they loved them some Big Sean.
Yeah, I can believe it.
And so Oral Roberts was kind of like, I used to call him Grandpa.
Wow.
I went to, like I said, I went to Memorial and then went to Victory and then went back to Memorial. I got Oral Roberts to come and do our commencement services for my graduating class at Memorial. Yeah. And
that's big.
Yeah. We did it right there at the Mabee Center.
You know? Oh, brother, that is huge.
Yeah. And so I was around that time, you know, when I was a sophomore in high school, I had an Oral Roberts ID, student ID. I used to go up and eat. We lived at the foothills of Southern Hills. And so I used to go up in the cafeteria. You know, I used to hang around. You had a guy I played basketball there. His name was Cat Johnson. Cat Johnson is all over, you know, everywhere as far as the legend at Oral Roberts. So that was one of my, you know, I looked up to him, I guess, on the basketball court. And shoot, I had the girls at ORU. I had everything but the dorm room, but I was in the dorm rooms. Yeah, I was breaking the curfew with everybody. You know, shit. Back in them days, Oral Roberts had all of South Tulsa on lock. That they didn't even have the Walmart over there. He didn't want anything to be a distraction to kids moving to Tulsa and being there on campus. But yeah, I was a kid from Tulsa and I had the car. And so I'd come up and, you know, it ain't nothing for me to have a car full of folks and we going to wherever, making their little runs and stuff. You know, there wasn't no liquor stores around that area at all. So I'd drive all the way out to North Tulsa, over to the Glass House, so they can get them some liquor.
Wow, what a story. But I think it's really neat that you were around being the first Black to go to Victory Bible. No. Oh, Victory Christian School.
Yeah, the high school, which is now, you know, they got them from Oral Roberts. But back then we were in a car dealership, 41st and Sheridan, where the Sam's Club is now. That used to be my high school.
Wow. Did they recruit? How did you end up at Victory Christian School?
Well, my mom and I attended Victory Christian Church. We went to church there. Okay. But I played basketball and one of my neighbors was the assistant basketball coach. And so you used to see me coming up and down this driveway, bouncing my ball, walking to and from the park to play. And he asked, "Are you any good with that?" Of course I am. Won't you come, you know, hang out with my team? And finding out that he was a coach and this and that or whatever. And I was like, okay, sure. And of course, I was a little Black boy out there with all the rest of these little white kids and doing stuff that the white kids were like, oh, wow. And I promise you, if you remember the movie Finding Forrester, you remember that? Remember when he had to go to the private school and there was one Black kid that was there before him that all the white kids just stopped to watch them. Yeah. That was my story at Victory. long time ago. Yeah. But yeah, well, we want to get back into that right now, but we really want to talk about what's going on with you and what is it that what do you hope that your viewers take away from finding Why Trump? And what is it that you single-handedly can you do to make Black folks more aware of the bullshit that we are getting ready to go through, and your story had to be told, and how to get people to support your story, if you will, because I know it's hard as a Black man, as an entrepreneur, as a promoter, and all these other things in our lives. It's hard to convince Black people that you ain't here to hurt them, you ain't trying to steal from them, and you bringing good news. How do you do that? And that's the reason why we go to church, because that
I was about to say, brother, I mean,
that nigga standing in the pulpit, he coming with some mighty lies this week to get you to understand something about why you need to come up with this Bentley payment.
I mean, we've been doing church for so long that it makes it real difficult for us not to, people been talking to me about quasi-pastoring. And it's like, I think it's a joke in the sense that it's like, oh my God, I don't want to be no pastor. But I would run a concert center, and I would be more of a spiritual director type of person, meaning that you still have some of the elements, because that's what we know. That's the constructs we have been branded with for centuries. And so therefore it makes it real easier or how palatable. I did counsel and coach people all the time, and they're just like, how do I not seem like some crystal loving witch? It's kind of like by not being that.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is like with us Black folks, it is very difficult. The film, I think, would be able to shed some light. And then as the other episodes come in, I think it's just, brother, it's like if we can get one person to watch it, and honestly, I would say white person. Black people can go, stand, march, shout, scream, and do all that stuff, and we might move the needle a little bit. But when one white person comes over and they say, hey, I got these quilts and these blankets, and we could weave these blankets up and put directions on the blankets and the quilts, and we'll put them on our porch. And when you guys move throughout I was driving in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and I was driving up from Pine Bluff and all through. You guys probably been throughout Arkansas. You see all that.
Yeah.
And man, being on this spiritual journey and being able to use plant-based medicines and things, even if you're not on it and experiencing it, you still have, your brain does different things. And I'm literally driving 80, 90 miles an hour down the highway, and my ancestors are like, this is how we had to, they're showing me like, this is how. And I'm like,
your timelines. This is what they experienced.
This is how we had to get from one place to another, trying to get away, trying to go towards certain areas, and we're trying to move south or move north, right? And I was able to really fully grasp and think about the Underground Railroad. And it was the abolitionists, right? It was and I'm not saying it was just them, but it's what's moving within them amongst the masses of the people. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound, save a wretch like me. That was a song from a slaver that was like, had this Damascus kind of experience that was all of a sudden woken up to say, look at what you're doing wrong. And so I believe 100%, brother, I believe 100%. It sounds crazy as hell, but this thing is deeply spiritual, and it has a really connection to our consciousness and higher consciousness. Being able to watch this movie hopefully just adds a little bit more awareness, where I'm like, okay, I've seen it. I'm able to see it. But more importantly, like I say, if you have someone that's white that turns around and watches it, and then they say, you know what? I'm standing up, and I'm standing with these people, right? I'm standing with these people. All of a sudden, now you have a synergy, and you have a certain level of unity, right? You have a certain level of collective consciousness.
Well, it ain't right until it goes white. Until we get somebody white to stand up or to say something, then, and that's always. And if we as our own people stand up and say something against the system, then we have to be militant, or we're disruptive, or we're the bad seed. That's just how that is. That's the shit that they embed in our train of thought, to let you know, that thumbnail to hold you down. To say, well, wait a minute, boy, this is not your lane. This ain't for you. You was talking earlier about being in the rural area, and you can have white people and black people live in the same rural town. The difference is, the white folks got the old washing machine and the refrigerator in their front yard, on their front porch. Now, black folk, we might have a chair or a hoopty that ain't ran in 72 years, it in there with a flower bed in the back, in the trunk. Now, we might have all that kind of stuff. One of the things that, on the other side of that, one of the most offensive things that I have found in my life that white people can say to me, and I say offensive, not something to get their teeth knocked out, but the most offensive thing that I find the white folks have said to me is, so what do you do? What do you do? How do you live here? How do you drive this type of vehicle? What do you do for a living? Where do you work? And I always have something to say. I tell them, one, that I'm a stripper, and they call me Coffee Cake. I take peanut butter and rub it all over my body. That's yeah. And when they look at me real crazy, and I said, and I hope that they girl is standing right there. And I said, shit, we can do a private show right now. Come on, honey, let's go. Let's go back, and you go back and tell him how I do that shit like the old girl in Blazing Saddles. It's true. It's true.
Would you find that? I think we would find that too more prominent in certain areas, because like in certain areas, Chicago, LA, you don't know who you're talking to, and in New York, I remember 2008 riding around in New York, and you seen brothers in their 30s driving Maybachs or Maybach. And I think it's like people get so used to like me being literally I've spent the last, I don't know, ever since I've been in Tulsa, so almost after school. So the last 15 years with Malachi Group as a consultant. I wasn't consulting. I'd say 98% of the people I was consulting were white ran businesses. I would get approached by various people, and they would be like, of course, they didn't actually just say, what do you do? They said, did you play football with TU? Or,
oh, yeah.
Like you hanging around the owner, you're like, did you play football? And so my
are you a rapper?
Mm-hmm. Did you play football with it? Because I would be around owners of businesses. And so I would hit them with, no, I'm a consultant to the owner for his businesses. I do that on purpose. I always like to hit a person with it would be true, but I always like to hit a person with what they're not expecting. Like, here's the thing, brother, man, we can go into what is taking place right now when we truly understand this reality, understanding things of duality, how we living. I told someone some time ago, there's different things that I get as a mystic. So what that means is that there's certain people that roam the earth, and we just here for this moment in time. We realize that we're here and we're gone, and we already know we're gone. And so therefore we're just playing out the story. And so I had a download, 20 years ago, and it was like, you're always singing the song, put God first in all the things you do. But if I put God first, that's categorizing a deity or an entity. You want me to put the institution first. You really want to put the church and the institution and what you do there as a reverence to what you believe is God, but it's not actually God, right? I don't have to categorize a entity if it's an entity that actually that could give probably two shits about whether I am honoring him or honoring it through some saliva and spitting and worshiping, when it's like, I'm such a deity that I don't even need to be worshiped. Like, why do I need your worship? Like,
when
you
I'm
need
the only
worship
thing happening anyway. When I'm the sun just emanating
Hold on.
I'm
So,
just the son.
hold on. Let me lay hands on myself.
I'm
Wake
just the son and emanating. And if this is a closed field, there's only one thing happening.
So let me ask you a quick question. I'm sorry to interrupt. So here's the question for you. When they say that they're gonna lay hands on you and the mothers have that oil, do you think any of them had baby oil?
Probably at Diddy's place they did.
Had all kind of oil.
I never did.
Not the olive oil. I'm talking about that baby oil. They say, damn, this is Johnson Johnson.
With the olive oil, I never did understand. Like growing up, I never understood because they would always have that same shape, that same bottle.
Yes.
Then I end up, you go to restaurants and they might cook with olive oil, but 26 years ago, I married someone who normally cooked with olive oil, and it was like so intriguing. And it comes to one thing I found out is the olive oil that they would use for blessed oil tastes like shit. Compared to other olive oils, man, that olive oil, and I remember the smell of that, man.
Yes,
it's so.
It was stale on you.
And that's what I'm telling you. When you got some baby oil, you say, "Wait a minute, that's Johnson and Johnson."
Man,
I don't know if I ever went to that level of.
I never forget. I was running late for a show. This is crazy. We was building the church and so forth. I didn't have any more activator. No one really too much know this story, so I got some
girl.
Yeah, what oil did you get? Olive oil.
Olive oil, and I put it on my Jerry curl. And then I got me a shot of grape communion juice. I was ready.
Boy, yeah, you might not want to tell nobody that.
About being a preacher's kid, it was one time I was little. I drunk up half of the bottle of
that Welch's grape juice. I didn't understand how that was the blood of Jesus.
I got off the drums. I was so thirsty. We're backing off and I drunk the bottle. I said, boy, you look at God to strike you down. That juice is blessed. Shit, I should be feeling good.
Isn't it amazing though when you think about like they really think like this juice is real. Sacred. This is blessed.
Yeah, it's sacred. And eating these saltine crackers. I don't know where they got them crackers that shape from, and they all powdery. Taste like. You had to hit that Welch's grape juice.
I like the bread. I used to love the bread, man.
You
had to get that Welch's grape juice to chase it. That's for real.
They would order the bread where I went. They would order the bread from the Church of God in Christ back in the 80s. They would order the bread from the Church of God in Christ store. It was I don't even know what it was. It wasn't even a cracker. I bet you they got that.
It was a wafer. They called it a wafer.
It was like, it's more small, and it was like he said, it was like powdery. And I think, honestly, what people don't know is like we were so closely related in terms of the ecclesia was related to Catholicism. And so all of their ecclesia comes from Catholicism. And I'm not talking about like the way they did it, but I'm talking more about the robes. Like you weren't allowed to buy those robes.
Right.
Like you weren't allowed to have that stuff. And then they actually began to let these people like have the robes and have the garments
and put your name on.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But how we all, I guess with a certain age demographic, we all can have the same stories, and we can relate to, I'm not going to say traumas, we can relate to trials that we all went through. But the crazy thing is, at the end of the day, everything you experience, if you messed up, there were always that threat of you gonna get it, you gonna be in trouble, and you don't run in God's house, you don't play with God, God gonna strike you down, and all this good stuff. I grew up scared as a Christian. I didn't know what I'm supposed to do.
End times? Did you grow up with the end times?
Oh, of course.
Did you ever see did it ever get too red outside where you man, I remember being in stores or being different places in my house, and I'd be looking around the house like, oh my God, there was somebody in times, like Jesus came back.
All I can do is I remember it was a time where I used to pray that Jesus would kill her now. give her a heart attack, give her a stroke or something, because I was getting ready to get my ass tore out the frame. You talking about earlier, you want to get that ass whooping over. I don't want something catastrophic to happen before that take place. Let me make it one more day, God. I promise you, I ain't gonna do that again.
Was you told that, you know, this hurts me more than it hurts you, and this is love?
Oh yeah. You
know, in a way, does that not mess with you? Like you were told as you were about to get your ass whooped,
it's gonna hurt me more than it's gonna hurt you. How?
Right?
How?
That's a lie, bro.
Well, this is not gonna hurt me so much.
Might hurt your spirit, might hurt your feelings.
Yeah. How far we have come. They did to us what was done to them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And church is getting ready to have a real shaking.
Yes.
So we were very sad, personally, that Trump got in office. But I'm kind of like you, Malachi. We might as well get this whooping over, because it's inevitable for everyone to see. And then everyone, not everyone, but people individually will begin to start to wake up, because you only change when you suffer. And whatever you've been doing, and if it hasn't been working for you, and people are really seeing now that how can this group of people do such a thing? But what you've been taught all your life to love, to do this, to do right, raise your kids to do this, that, and the other. And now you can put someone like that in office, and you have the church, white evangelicals, as well as some black church, finally decide we're going to support this. We're really going to support this over what we go to church every Sunday and say, this is how it should be. But yet we can support this. So I'm like you, it needs to happen so everyone can continue to wake up. As it relates to the white organization, they have to see, they have to understand that you can't judge other. You need to learn other. Same as black folks. You can't judge them. You need to learn them. Your film brought that out very eloquently for me. That's what I got out of it, is we have to learn some of these people. They just don't know us. They just see life differently. If you were born white, you think white privileges is all you know. So fear can have such a stronghold on you when you don't know anything different going into the unknown. And then when you don't know, when you're dependent on a outer deity and you always going out and that deity is not bringing it in, you're going to look for something else. So Trump was the perfect storm. He was that perfect deity for them. Now, we as a people of collective consciousness, or whatever you want to say, we understand we can have one foot in the dream, the classical, and in the quantum. We can sit back and watch all this shit and ain't got to do shit. But if we want to manifest, then we have to project and manifest that reality that we want to see now. And that's how people are going to have to start dealing with this at this time. So people like us and others that are unquote woke or what have you, we're in this space, and others are going to continue to start coming to space, because there's a void that's going to have to be filled, because believe it or not, there are people really looking for some real answers right now. And the real answers now is not to go out. You have to now go within. You got to go in and do some introspection.
Preach.
You go in and do some introspection. You understand none of this shit would matter. And then when you understand you were never born, you will never die.
Well,
what the fuck?
Well,
what the fuck? Okay, now you can play with this. Now you can take a deep breath and say,
yeah.
Okay, now let me figure this out.
Yeah.
I'm not my thoughts.
Yeah.
If I'm not these perceptions, who
say
the
that?
Fuck am I?
Say that.
So if I'm not that,
yeah,
you don't have to give a fuck about Trump or anything else. You project what you want. So then you have to go into mind-heart coherence to start projecting that reality that you want. And once you tap in and say, no, this is what I'm dreaming now, so that's what I want. Once you lock in, now gratefulness is that anchor. Gratefulness is time warps straight. Yeah. It holds it. It holds what you project. It holds it now. And it starts to come in manifestation. At that point, no, you got to be gratefulness and enjoy the journey, my brother.
We gonna ride.
And the key is the unknown. Just go with the journey and the unknown.
We
God
don't
is
know.
always trying to do something. No, he's just continuing.
Yeah.
Space-time is expanding. The dream is expanding.
Get big, Lord.
It ain't gonna stop.
Get big.
The rhythm ain't gonna stop.
Don't stop till you get it.
Yeah, man.
I
love it.
Don't stop.
That's what I got out of that. That's what I got.
Vibrating that most people, a lot of us don't understand that even though you're going through, frequency is frequency. If you want to think about God as anything, think about it as a frequency. And so that, what I mean by that, not to be all woo-woo or out there, it's kind of like, if you hear a frequency that is annoying, that is, oh my God, what bothers us more than anything, or an individual, because Trump don't even bother me anymore.
Right.
But Trump is a frequency. His ideology, his mind, his thought, his process, it is actually a frequency. And it's like, okay, good. It is what it is. I'm going to take this moment to shift. It's a practice. Don't get it twisted. It's a practice, because you could be in that moment and this is like, wait a minute, time out. Like, we can do this a little different. All of us in this thing right here, strapped up if we need to be. Most people around Oklahoma, Kansas, like, we grew up around guns. I mean, we don't just like a.
Well, don't make me pull out the closet. Don't make me go to the closet. I'm saying,
it's a tool, right? But at the same essence and things that I understand today, brother, there's going to be more people that are multimillionaires, not necessarily related to just benefiting from Trump being in office, but being able to rise to a frequency that it didn't matter if Trump was in office or who was in office. Because if you don't rise to that frequency of understanding that, if you think about it, he got 4 years, he could do a lot of damage, but who becomes a multimillionaire and build businesses and organizations and institutions like we're doing and in the process to make the world a better place, and have content and information and things that they are able to have and hold and be able to use? That's not just a 4-year thing. We're talking 40 years, right? We're talking, We're trying to do something that goes so far beyond. And that's one of the things they talk to about us as far as just Americans in general. We think about today, and we think about what we can do today, what we can have today. And I'm like, man, I've been on this trajectory for quite a long time, but whenever it comes to coaching, whenever it comes to developing the whole nother understanding level of consciousness and content and all these things, I think that's only been really a 2020 in terms of me personally online with the life coaching, and then taking over Carlton Pearson's expanded consciousness concepts that we worked on. That stuff is like still fairly new in the sense of me actively pushing it and being out there. He's only been gone for literally a year last week. And so my thing is like, I know clear as day that over the next 4 years, we can build what we have going on right now. And you know what? It's like the greatest thing I think we can do is build and be able to have the ability to control our own narratives and be able to put our own content out there and to be able to actually make a difference. Just, can you imagine if we had a couple of million people each, and you look at the big perspective of who's out, the world, there's 8 point something billion people out there. 3 to 5 billion people are connected to the internet, and Google and different ones are steady working to get other countries connected. 1, it does help them. 2, it helps Google. But 3, there's a whole nother darkness to getting all these people connected. And the biggest thing, like right now today, it's amazing for me to get people from Kenya, people from, I think there's a couple of different countries in Africa where they like, man, thank you for speaking out. How do you do it? I got quite a few people from like Jamaica, different islands like that, where you don't really get to actually have a resource when it comes to someone asking questions about Christianity and what it is, and then being able to go deep into it. So a lot of people, like, they'll either thank you or ask you, how did you do that? And how can I do that? And so the thing is, with a couple of million people, we're having conferences. Not even that. We're with 50,000 people, between 50,000 people, we got 1,000 solid people to actually, instead of it being this, we got 1,000 people going to LA talking about these things, brother. business owners, and this stuff can affect you and make your life completely different. I'll look at the Joe Dispenzas and all those people that are out there with their stuff, right, going on. And there's not that many Black people that's being able to have these transformative experiences, right? Being able to understand. I even take it as far as plant-based medicines and psilocybin, and not just looking at cannabis as something just to get high with, but how do I use that as a transformative piece of, what would I say, just transformative item or device or something that I say, I'm going to use this to do this, not just use this to get high, right? I'm going to experience certain things in life because I want to connect to my higher self and then use that in order to make a difference to life. And specifically, I'll say, which I say a lot, is my people. Everyone, I'll see brothers out there and I will look them in the eyes and say, thank you for being you. Stranger, I'll look, thank you for being you.
Yeah.
You know what?
Brave.
I love you, right, as a Black man because I'm a Black man. And do you know, I have never, ever, I get nothing but pure respect from here to Jamaica, right? Nothing but respect, because there was a day I grew up, my younger days were like 15, 16, 17 was in the 90s, and the 90s sucked. And when it comes to a lot of black stuff, when it comes to Tulsa, Wichita, Kansas City, Pine Bluff, banging on wax. It was just Baton Rouge, Louisiana, all throughout the South.
Banging
it was
Little Rock, yeah.
Yeah, and it was just mean mugging. You just people, you know what I mean? They just riding in cars and just looking like this, like, you know what I mean? Remember? And they was just like, what are you looking at, nigga? Like, I'm just like, bro, you got to walk down the street like this because you don't want some problem with somebody just because of the fact that the people are.
We ever wonder what happened to those crack babies? This is them.
Hey, man, I found out that brothers more than not, even some of the hardest, like most of them are in some level of like, man, I do want some peace in my life. I do what I got to do. And some of them are still out there running the streets. But you get one that's 45, 45, 50, 60 years old. They're like, I'm good. And to me, we're in a beautiful moment where a lot of brothers specifically want to understand expanded consciousness without being so, I love him and I talk about him all the time, but without being too Billy Carson, if you know who I'm talking about. I like Billy, but being able to connect to us and being able to connect to who we are, getting on the basic levels of understanding manifestation, understanding of what it means to go within, to go without, understanding like some basic concepts of being able to understand who you are, God within you. Like it's cool, but without going into the aliens and the ancient history, and it's no different than the brothers hitting me up.
Yeah, most of them are not really ready for that because they don't even know who they are. For that to even really resonate, they're more a lot of brothers just fascinated with the stories.
Hebrew Israelites, yeah, that's the same thing. That's a story. The Hebrew Israelites always hit me up. You know what I mean? You believe in the Bible? Sorta. Not really. Oh, okay. You're not. You're not
who you are. I can show you are in this Bible.
Yeah.
And I always go back to spirit, man. Spirit and experience.
So, Malachi, let me ask you a question.
I can't test it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Malachi a question. So, what's next with you, brother? What's your next project that you got coming up?
The biggest thing I'm working on is the expanded conscious community. And that's a community of communities. So in other words, like, of course, within the expanded conscious community, which I go live every Thursday at 8:30 with guests. But the biggest thing I want to do now, I want to do more teaching because it's like, I love teaching. I've been studying for a long time and I do it 24/7. I'm always studying. And so therefore to be able to share that, I'll share it within the community, share some private things. And within probably 6 months, I would like to have the Institute of Expanded Consciousness, and being able to have it where you're not able just to see me live or see interviews, but you can actually take a course like on Christian mysticism and be able to get a deeper understanding of what that is, of mysticism in itself. Be able to take maybe a couple of week course on deconstructing. That would be deconstructing Christianity.
So do you have a doctor series coming up at all?
We are still plugging the docuseries. We put so much time into the docuseries we have now. That docuseries is still going to grow. We are in place to go to the PBS. Of course, Timu, what is it? Tubi. I get them things. Tubi is who has it now, doing well. PBS has really been looking at wanting to host and have it, but have all the other episodes. So we're kind of up in the air with agents and with the distribution system.
So like A&E would be a good network for y'all also.
Yes. The agents, it's like they got it and they just essentially shopping it. Tubi has been pretty good at doing the distribution and getting out there. They want content. And so that docuseries is still in the works. They're still editing to do on these other episodes. We've been working on it for so long. I'm an executive producer, so my job is somewhat done. But for myself, with what I'm doing, honestly, with what I'm doing for that, as everything is as it should be, allow and bring it into a whole another level of space and being able to get it promoted and pushed without actually promoting and pushing.
I just want to say, you man, I applaud you for what you did here, for your involvement with it all. And you try to belittle yourself when you say, I'm just the EP. No, without that, without that, you know, the project doesn't work, you know?
Yes.
But I'm just
I mean, I was pretty deep. Like, he stayed at the house and I'm pretty deep in it, but humble at the same thing in terms of like giving the people that are boots on the ground. I did some of that, the editing and all that, giving them all their props. You know what I mean? Of all that time that they're spending to do that. But I would love to eventually do a docuseries. I still have a 3.5 hour interview of Carlton Pearson.
Oh,
and like literally,
were you in Atlanta for his service with Larry Reed?
I just did all the ones that were here in Tulsa. But of course, familiar.
Yeah, we went down for those services.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, we were down there kicking it, trying to see the turn up, see what was going to happen. Yeah, I was next to Surgeon Caesar when she said, I just wanted to thank God. And he said, well, you know, me and my husband.
Yeah, the first gentleman.
Yeah, and Shirley said, what did you say? Anyway, man, I'm going to, you know, I want to encourage all of you putting them thumbs up and stuff again. I get you.
It's been real.
Yeah.
It's been real, man. We didn't kept you 2 hours here and we could talk another 4 it won't even crack an egg.
Right.
Because I want to bring you back and do an interview when we're not just talking about this particular documentary, Why Trump, because you're definitely a brother of such depth and knowledge in a lot of ways. And I just love your journey. I've been able to have work with Wayman Tisdale. It's the connection, as well as Bishop Pearson. And I really have just enjoyed your journey more, learning more from you and your personality after Carlton this last year, where I'm really learning you. And bruh, you got something, bruh. You really do. And for it to come out and blossom like it is, as Bishop would say, the best is yet to come.
You know, I was once told that I was younger. I just had to start working for Wayman, different people. And a friend of mine said, when you're so close to greatness, you're not that far from it yourself. That stuck with me.
Yeah.
It stuck with me. And I contemplate the times that I had, brother, with Tiz. Tiz was a person that would just, especially he liked me because I wasn't from Tulsa. During the era, you know, different eras, being able to just have this person, you don't know who they are, and just put me out there in different things. And at the time I did that, it was very impactful. And I was able to see the world. It was amazing to see the world. I was like, man, I can get used to this. Being able to just see these people at work. I seen him and Toby Keith recording Never Gonna Give You Up on one of, I think it was on Tiz's album. Him and Toby was cool, just being Oklahoma OU fans. And it was a one take. It was just being around those kind of people, man. Those people had learned to master themselves, master abilities, being able to be who they are. And I have had a lot of those people transition. And now I know that, to be honest, like straight up, I know it's like, okay, it's my turn to be that vocal, to be that person, to be who I am, and to attract the masses for the purposes of elevating them. When you listen to a track, you listen to that track, and it's just, there's something. I just listened to that new Kendrick Lamar, and it was like, I was mixed, but at the same time, I'm hearing him and I'm knowing and understanding hip hop. I'm like, yeah, this guy's different. He's different, but he's original. Like, he's different, but he's original. He reminds me of Tupac. It reminds me of all these different people that had stories. You know, I don't just have hip hop that I'm talking about my car. Like, I got something to get off my chest, this experience. And so with us, I think with what we have, with what I'm doing, we are standing on giants. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're standing on some giants, and I believe we have to believe in ourselves and go for it. And ultimately, man, it's like to make a difference, especially coming from where we come from. You know, he was talking about Billy Joe, and I just remember, like, I liked Billy Joe. I liked his heart. Like, that was one thing that was different about Billy Joe with his preaching. Like, he might have drank a lot of the Kool-Aid, but he still had a heart. Mm-hmm. And because there's so many people that they're really into it for the fame and the fortune and everything else. So instead of us, all three of us are prime suspects to be in ministry. 100%. Mm-hmm. Prime. Like, we would be chosen picks.
Yeah, they always told me from growing up, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be in ministry. But I'm going to tell you something. You took me from pessimistic and turned me optimistic, because when we first started out with this thing, I was like, all right, Don, who is this cat you got coming on here? He talking about all this Trump shit. And then I had to go and watch the show itself. And I'm telling you, for an hour and a half, it's a good watch. And I'm encouraging all of our viewers to go out and check you out. Check out your story on Why Trump. You know, now when your users start going up, all right, and they start ding, 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 and them dollar signs start rolling in, don't forget about your boys. You know what I'm talking about? Love it. Don't forget about, hey, you know, bring it to the altar. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I've always said, I want my Bentley white. You know what I'm talking about? I want a ghost. You know what I'm saying? I want it white. And I appreciate you.
You like the ghost?
Yeah. You see, I try to keep it white. You talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, yeah. But I'm just saying, I am honored to be able to say that, hey, I know this dude, and I'll be in Tulsa tomorrow, and I'm going to bring something to you.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to bless you with something tomorrow when I get out there for this weekend. Yeah. I'm going to help your story out. Number. Okay, right. We gonna get it together. But Brother Don, what you got to say, brother?
Well, man, we have kept this gentleman way more than we would have liked. We didn't even discuss the time. That's how generous he has been. Yeah. He didn't say, Don, no, I got an hour. I got whatever. This man gave me 2 hours of his time.
Love it.
And I just want to thank you, audience. Want to thank you, Malachi, for all that you're doing. Dude, 2020, 25, God's going to blow your mind. You're going to blow your own mind. And I can't wait for the retreats and things that we have here at Prodigal Plan to bring you in as a guest speaker. And I can't wait for us to collaborate on some retreats and other things that we both talked about coming up in the future.
Oh, man, that feels good.
Any closing words?
Man, that feels so good. Wow, it feels wonderful, man. When we can be there and I can just witness it, and we seeing it right now. Big Sean, we got Big Sean. He got his Bentley.
Right,
that's it.
So you want me rolling, dog?
It's already done. We're gonna get Sean that Bentley, that white one.
Mm-hmm.
This Bentley, yeah. He's in a Ghost. That's a Rolls Royce. Royce Ghost.
Yeah, you see this here, and put that on the license plate. You hear me? Yeah, that's gonna go on the license plate. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Prodigal, the podcast. I am your host, Don Jackson. Co-host, Big Sean. Sean, any little closing words before we get out of here?
Man, today was a good day. That's all I can say. It might have started out a little shaky and cold here in Dallas, but hey, today was a good day. I appreciate this young brother. I want y'all to go out and stand up with this young brother, because I know from over these past couple of hours, I've learned that he's a cat that will definitely stand with you. And I just thank you, brother, from the bottom of my heart for being who you are. We need you. We need you. We need you. We need you. I want you to hear that. We need you. We need you, brother. And I thank you for being diligent and being obedient to what it is this maker, God, has placed you into this lane. We need you. And don't you ever forget that. We need you.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
Malachi, how can the audience get a hold of you? Social media?
Yes, everything. All social medias, Instagram, Snapchat, you name it. What's the other one? TikTok, the main one, Instagram, Facebook. And that's all Life Coach Malachi. You type in Life Coach Malachi, you will find me everywhere. You type in Malachi Gross on Google. Literally, I have littered a trail over the last 15 years of all sorts of different material on the internet. Thursday, 8:30, I either have guests or do personal teachings. I've been doing a lot of teachings on that day. And so you can go check those out on Facebook and on YouTube. And expanded consciousness is what I'm about, brother.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you guys. Appreciate your words. Appreciate your words. 100%, Big Sean.
Yes, sir.
And you do know what that means, especially as a Black man.
Oh, trust me. I'm just waiting to see the harvest. And with the harvest, I'm telling you, I want a white ghost. I'm telling you.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you've been listening to Prodigal. Thank you. Thank you, Malachi. Until next time, Prodigal, the podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to Prodigal, the podcast. We hope today's episode inspired you to embrace your own journey of self-discovery and transformation. Don't forget to follow us on social media and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Join us again next time as we continue to explore the ever-evolving world of culture with your hosts, Don Jackson and Big Sean. Until then, keep discovering, keep transforming, and keep being the amazing person you are.